All right. Hey, friends, I'm here with my buddy Michael Todd, Pastor Michael Todd, author of Relationship Goals. We just finished recording a podcast. It's juicy. It's full of good
level.
stuff.
Next level.
But I saved my least favorite and favorite conversation for YouTube right now. We got to talk about breaking up. Listen.
Let's go.
If one more Christian ghosts another Christian, tell me about it. How do we break up well as Christians?
Well, I think the whole concept of breaking up has to start with how did we get together? Because I think that is the context that we have to put this in, because a lot of times if we get together wrong, the breakup's going to be wrong anyway. And that's where a lot of people, let's go back before we break up. Let's make sure that we start right. And that's the whole reason I wrote this book, because I do a chapter in there, does it need to end? Because a lot of people, a lot of their relationships need to end. And but it's because they started off wrong. And somehow in our thoughts and in our minds, we just, every red flag, we're just like, no, that doesn't matter. And no, we can fix that. And that doesn't. But what ends up happening is when all the fairy dust settles and when you got to really see the person and you wake up and their breath is stinking and you see them after they done, you know what I'm saying, gain 30 pounds and all of those different things, you start being like, wow, what happened? And so I encourage people that the best time to break up is before it begins. That's the first thing you need to think.
Okay.
Don't think break up after the relationship is started. Think break up before it needs to begin. If you're already making lists of reasons why that this person, if they ever and when they and all that other stuff, that's a good sign that you may need to slow up.
Right.
Okay. Now let's talk about people who are in relationships that are trying to make it happen.
Do you mean dating and marriage, or is this only because once you're in marriage, you're in?
Okay. When you're married. So sorry, buddy. You made this commitment, and there are tons of resources, tons of tools, and tons of things. Now, there are certain situations that the Bible gives clearance for divorce, but I always tell people, man, the ripping away, I use divorce like this, that it's like taking two pieces of construction paper and super gluing them together and then ripping those pieces of paper apart.
Yeah.
Pieces of you and pieces of that person will forever be with each other. Yeah. And then you try to go and present yourself like you're a brand new piece of construction paper, and it can happen.
Right.
But it takes so much for people to really be able to do that. So, man, work it out. Right. Find counseling, get in unity, and try to work that thing out. For those who are dating, man, there are so many signs that try to help people get in a place where they know, hey, this may not be it. Hey, you probably need to stop this. I tell people all the time is that a lot of times we try to go faster than God's going, and that leads us to a place of breakup. I don't know anything about
that. I don't know anything about that. Can't imagine.
Abraham, Sarah, and Hagar. And you think God made them a promise, but they were rushing the process. And so they created something outside of the plan and the purpose of God. And what ended up happening is Abraham had a relationship with Hagar that Sarah didn't have. And what ends up happening is God blessed both parties when they broke up. Like both parties were blessed when they got away from what was hindering and hurting both of them. And that would be my thought. Number one qualification that you can ask, does the relationship need to end? Is this relationship helping you? Like just that simple. Is it helping you? Are you being more of the person that you want to be in this relationship? Or are you dodging who you really want to be? Are you more accountable in this relationship, or are you less accountable and not talking to the people who really would tell you what's going on? Are you more committed to your purpose? Are you less committed to your purpose being with that person? When you start seeing people being deficits to you and not adding to you, that is a huge sign. This might need to end. Yeah. And at the same token, that when you end it respectfully, honestly, don't say like it's just you. No, we didn't click. Every time we talk, like it just didn't work, and it felt like it was forced. Because this is the thing, you may be the preparation for somebody's next.
Yeah.
And if you would give them the things that they could potentially grow from in love, or things that you didn't know, that could be the turning point for them to be prepared for whoever they're supposed to be with. Yeah. The same way that if somebody's doing that and being that honest and in love and all that with them, they could be preparing that person to be with you. And so I just always tell people, man, this is not the time to get super spiritual and act like, God's just telling me. I would be so mad if I was God, because God's been blamed for more breakups.
Right.
It's like, no, that wasn't me.
Yeah, I did not say that.
You don't like the way they smell. Like, you don't like, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And so, I do think that there has to be accountability in this. And that's where it's hard to bring accountability in when there's a breakup, if it wasn't already there when they started.
Right.
And that's why I'm always intentional. Even with married couples, I'll tell this real story. I have somebody that's very, very close to me, and they had infidelity in the beginning of their marriage, first year.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I mean, rocked everything. So after a year and a half of them trying, they said, hey, we're done. They called our little friend group over to their house and told us they were getting a divorce. And I stood up, I said, nope, it's not happening. Like, you haven't tried everything yet. But the only reason I had the authority to stand there and say that in that moment is because they invited us in as accountability from the beginning of their dating.
Yeah.
And we've walked with them and we talked to them. They just celebrated 5 years of being married. Yeah. Their relationship is growing, is progressing, it's moving stronger than it's ever had. They just started a business together, just bought a home. Like, there's all of these things that have happened. But it's very hard for somebody to come in at that moment and say, hey, like, if you don't invite them in. So again, a lot of my things for does it need to end, there are things that are just toxic that nobody need to be in.
Right.
Like, and you know what those things are when you're feeling depressed and you can't, you've had a great relationship with people who really care about you, and all of them can't stand this person and they're turning you in. I'm not saying that they're right, but there's something there to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's something there to pay attention to. And that's why we need community. That's why we need community, and we need to really get in touch with ourselves. And so my encouragement is, if you're in anything, I mean, there's some things that are like, if you're in an abusive situation, physically, emotionally, all this stuff, they don't deserve to be able to be with such a treasure like you. So like, that's point blank, period. But there's other things that purposes need to align. I said this to one young lady the other day. She was like, I just feel like she's very successful, doing a whole bunch of stuff. And she's like, I just feel like I need to dim myself to get in relationship with some of these guys. I said, sweetheart, don't do that. I said,
I feel that temptation too, Michael. I feel that.
Girl, do not dumb down because who you're supposed to be with won't recognize you. This is what I'm telling you. All of the people you're slowing down for will slow you down for the rest of your life.
Right.
Do you hear what I'm saying to you right now? They may look good. They may present something that meets an immediate need right now, but don't slow down for that. I told this young lady, I said, you need to run as hard as you can towards the purpose that God has set for you. And then one day God will say, look over. Running, and the person that's running that same thing, you'll know, hey, that's who I'm supposed to start intentionally dating. That's who I'm supposed to start investigating. And I just really believe that a lot of things need to end before they begin. I think it's Beyonce said, it's the best thing I never had.
Yeah.
Like, I think that a lot of times, and you need to know that you're not less than if you don't start a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
See,
people need to know that.
A lot of things need to end because a lot of people are starting stuff that never needed to start. Yes. And there's, I would say 75 to 80% of relationships never needed to start it in the beginning, and it ends up damaging people. So yeah.
All right, my man, you're just the best. I'm such a fan.
The best.
Y'all got to get relationship goals with Michael Todd. Hey, we're just a huge fan of you over here. So
I love you, Andy.
I love you too, buddy. I'm
gonna help people win in relationships, and
that's right.
And then we're going to help you personally. I'm going to be your personal coach and helping you win in relationship. You're going to choose joy, and I'm going to grill whoever
that's right.
is that's coming in your.
That's right. I'll take it.